welcome back. Today we're going to take a look at a relatively new feature from Google Slides, which is the ability to add audio, which actually adds a nice little extra dimension to what you can do in Google Slides. So you can add audio, you can add music, anything that is, a WAV MP3 type of file. We're going to look at. So let's take a look at how to actually do it, and then I'll come back and look at a few classroom applications that we can potentially use that for. Okay, so I have this slide that I designed for the first day of school. I've got this little adventure ship kind of theme going on here, getting ready to go on a new journey. But aside from the visual, I want to add just a little bit more atmosphere. So being able to add audio is a great way to do that. So let me show you real quick how we're going to do that. And then there's a few tips along the way that I want to show as well. So I've got my slide here. If I've got an audio, all I'm going to do is click on Insert here, and then I'm going to go down to where it says Audio. It's going to pull up my box to choose from. I believe from this one I used Pirate Dance, and I'm just going to select that, and it's going to add this little icon in there. Now, personally, I like to drag it up here to the top, but that's just because of my finicky nature and all that. I can click play, I can listen to it here. I can also set the volume for that. But if you'll notice here, and you may have to click on Format Options, I've got this little sidebar that has some formatting options for my audio playback. So this is going to be a screen that I have up as students walk in on the first day. So what I want, I've got two options for playback. I can start it on a click, or I can automatically start it. So for this one, since I want it to be playing in the background as students walk in, I'm going to go ahead and click to automatically start to play it. And then I can adjust the volume when presenting if I want to do that. If you have something that you want to do, maybe you want to talk a little bit before you play it, you'd obviously want to choose the on-click option. And then I've got three little check boxes here that I have options from. One, I can hide the icon when presenting, which I like to just turn on just because I don't like that little icon up here messing with my overall visual that I put together. The other thing I can do is loop the audio. Now for this one, since it is background music and all that, I do want to loop it because after it's a 2-minute song, after 2 minutes, it's just going to stop. It's going to be quiet. So I'm going to loop it. It's just going to keep playing until I click to the next slide. And then this last option, which is fairly new, that I like is it's the decision to stop on slide change. So if it's, let's say I want background music playing throughout the whole presentation, I can turn this box off, and what it's going to do is going to keep playing that song, is going to keep looping it even if I go to other slides. If I check it on, it's going to stop it as soon as I go to the next slide, which for this one, when I go to my second slide, I'm transitioning into something else. So I'm going to click to stop it on slide change. Now, a few kind of pointers as far as utilizing this well. I'm going to click over here to my drive real quick. You'll see I've got I just created a folder that I dropped all of my music into, and I will explain in a minute why I did that. Just to have it, not just for organizational purposes, but to have easy access to it. So that might be one of the things that you think about is having it in there. You do need to have this in your Google Drive because when I click audio, you can, you see there is no option to upload. So this is going to have to be audio that is in your Google Drive. And the reason for that is similar to like a video. When you're playing it, it's trying to pull from like a link. If you, let's say, wanted to play a song from your home computer, but then you try to play it at school, it doesn't work that way. So it's using that online kind of deal. Now, let me show you real quick why I want to have it all in one single folder. All right, so I've gone into incognito mode so that I'm not actually signed into my account. But one of the things I want to show you about the sound stuff, If you'll notice here, when I load this in, I've got access to this, but when I present it, if you'll notice down here at the bottom, it says you don't have permission to play one media object in this presentation. So the thing with this is when you've got your audio in your Google Drive, you have to go make sure that you alter the settings so that anybody that accesses it outside of your account is going to be able to hear. Now, why is that important? Yeah, the background music might be a thing, but let's say I've got some voiceover audio commentary that I wanted to record onto slides that I wanted students to listen to as they went through a presentation. None of that audio is going to play when they're signed on to their accounts. So let me show you real quick how we're going to fix that problem. So because that sound is an issue, let's look real quick at how we can fix that. So I opened up my folder, and this is why I keep the music all in one single folder. So I've got all of my music here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this menu here. I'm going to go down to the share settings. Now the problem is in the permissions. So if you see down here, what we're going to do is your default setting is typically going to be in your domain, or it's going to be restricted. So what you want to do, if I take this particular one right here, when I click the share settings, see anyone at my school system can view. So it wouldn't be an issue for a student because they have that same domain. But if somebody outside of my school district wanted to look at this and listen to it, they were going to have issues. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change it here, and instead of users in my domain, I can click anyone with this link is going to be able to view. So what that means is that anybody who has access to this presentation is going to be able to listen to that. So then what I can do is when I open my incognito window here, and then I open the presentation up, when I actually play that presentation, you should be able to hear the music that goes along with it. And so you can hear that now when I open the presentation, regardless of whether I am signed into my account or anywhere else. Anybody who opens this presentation is going to be able to listen to it. So that's how to actually add audio to slides, but let's think what are some reasons why we might do that in a classroom. So, the obvious that I kind of talked about is adding background, adding to the atmosphere of your classroom, and a little thing like background music could go a pretty long way into setting a tone for students. Calmer music can soothe them a little bit more, where maybe a little bit more energetic. If you want them kind of active and moving around, you can utilize that. But think about some other implications that adding audio to slides gives us. So one of the biggest things is think about differentiating stuff for students. Now when I have slide presentations, especially if I'm doing anything kind of online, if I got students learning at home, if they want to access something at home, I can add voiceover commentary to explain things without having to type all of that text on there. So say you got something like a diagram on a slide, now I can record an audio of me explaining everything on that diagram, and then students can open up that presentation on their own and access it. So it's really great for differentiation. It's great for clarifying things. It's great for any kind of online instruction that you may be doing. And then, of course, there are lots of other kind of creative things that you can do, that students can do. You could even have students read stuff over pictures in the slide or anything like that. So hopefully that sparks some ideas about how you can utilize these audio files in your Google Slides presentations.